Saint Anthony's Church, Wahakotte, Sri Lanka. Introduction. The Saint Anthony's Church or Saint Anthony's Shrine is the cathedral church of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Kandy in Wahakotte, Sri Lanka. The church is located in Wahakotte, in the north of Mandalay district, about 32 kilometers, 20 miles, from Mandalay and is dedicated to Saint Anthony. The church is one of the most sacred pilgrim places for Catholics in Sri Lanka and a national shrine. The Benedictine mission is attached to the church. Considered to be one of the most important pilgrim sites for Catholics in the country, people from all over Sri Lanka come to visit it at least a couple of times every year. It has also been given the title of a national shrine. The light-colored building is crowned with brick red tiled roof and the interiors are beautifully decorated with intricate elements. Enjoy a trip to this church and soak in its blissful atmosphere. History of Saint Anthony's Church, Wahakotte. Wahakotte was known as Wahakotte, castle in the fort. It is believed that there was a palace and a fort, where the present church is situated. The village was so called because it protected the palace, traces of which are still visible. There is another legend to say that Waha poison, kote, pillow, means poisonous palo because a queen had committed suicide after hearing of her husband's death at war. History records that when King Dudujimanu defeated King Elara, in 164 BC he had built a small fortress at Wahakotte. There are still some ruins of ancient buildings on a rocky hill called Maligatena, Palace Field. These ruins show that Wahakotte was once a prosperous town with a fort, ramparts, a moat and thoroughfares, where sub-kings lived. One can see Dambala Rock Temple to the north from Maligatena. The Salana Lamanak records that there were ruins of Rangal Nuara and a Hindu Kovil, Patani Devalaya in the woods close by. The history records that the first Christian monarch, Yamasingh, adopted son of Karalayada Bandara, who later became Don Philip after embracing Christianity in Goa, India, was received by some rebels from Kandy and was crowned at Wahakotte by the Portuguese. It is also recorded that Don Francisco Vijakoon, who organized the Kandayan rebels against King Rajasingh, too, was present on this occasion. King Rajasingh of Kandy, who fought against the Portuguese, captured some of them and made them settle down in Wahakotte. These captured people earned their living by engaging themselves in cultivation, business and trade, and women sewing dresses for women, men sewing dresses for men. Some engaged themselves in running taverns and making liquor. The people of Wahakotte are slightly fairer in complexion, compared to other rural people in the area, though there are also very dark people among them. Because of this complexion, neighboring villagers still refer to them as Portuguese or the descendants of Parangi. Some had Kandayan names mixed with Portuguese names, like Don Juan Wijaratna or Donna Isabella Ekanayake. When the Dutch captured the areas that were under the Portuguese rule, they confiscated all Catholic institutions, churches, schools and religious places, chased away the Catholic priests and banned all religious activities. Architecture of Saint Anthony's Church, Wahakotte. Architectural style, Baroque Revival architecture. There are ruins of some ancient buildings on a rocky hill called Maligatena, Palace Field, or Bagankote. Wahakotte is so situated that one can observe the approaching enemy, even as far as the rocks of Dambala towards Anuradhapura. However, there were royal connections to this village from the fact that some still pay a tax to Dahawa Temple for the use of their paddy fields. It is difficult to find out whether they were Nindagam, belonging to aristocrats, Divalagam, belonging to the temple, or even Gabadagam, royal property. But some historical information reveals that earlier they paid tax to the royal ambassador, but later it was transferred to the temple. Famous historian S.J.R. Rodrigo begins his accounts on the history of Wahakotte with reference to 1582 when Raja Singh of Sitawaka waged war against Kandy. At the time of this war, Karaliyati Bandara fled to Trincomalee and died there of smallpox. Before his death, he became a Christian and entrusted his daughter Donna Catarina and Yamsingh to the Portuguese. Yamsingh too became a Christian at Goa under the name of Don Philip. When the Kandayan began to oppose King Rajasingh, Don Philip returned to Sri Lanka and was crowned at Wahakotte by the Portuguese. After the death of Don Philip, Kanapu Bandara seized the kingdom of Kandy, forcing Don Juan, the son of Don Philip, to flee. He fled, first to Wahakotte and via Goa to Portugal, where he became a priest. Kanapu Bandara married Donna Catarina in order to consolidate his position as a king. Wahakotte was frequented by all those who had contacts with the Portuguese during this period, due to the fact that the route from Kandy to Trincomalee and Manor was through Wahakotte. The miraculous statue of Saint Anthony. Wahakotte Church enshrining a miraculous statue of Saint Anthony of Padua, Italy, is among the important places to visit in Kandy. Saint Anthony is a Catholic saint, born in 1195 in Lisbon, Portugal. At the age of 15, he entered the Augustinian order and lived like a monk. But desiring to be a missionary, he later joined the Franciscan order and went to Morocco. Due to ill health, he was forced to return to Italy, where he became a famous preacher and wonder worker. There are thousands of recorded miracles attributed to Saint Anthony during his lifetime and also after his death. He died in Padua, on 13th of June 1231, and Catholic celebrates his feast on that day. Even after 7 centuries, his tongue is miraculously preserved at Padua for public veneration as a sacred object. Even non-Christian acknowledge that they have received favor by invoking his help. The hands of Saint Anthony had protected the people in the area over the past 400 years through the miraculous power. In relation to Saint Anthony, they have ancient handwritten prayers and hymns. The village, crops, exorcise and invoke divine assistance. Often the Mahapu, the chef layman elected by the parish council especially to lead prayers and hymns and to be responsible for parish activities, recite these prayers as a special privilege and as a sign of living under the protection of Saint Anthony. There are instances that help of Saint Anthony is sought in order to inflict damage to others. Feast Day, 17th June. The annual feast of historic Wahakotte Church will be held on June 17th with a festive high mass. Church visiting time. Every days, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Contact info. Saint Anthony's Church, Wahakotte, Maddalay, Sri Lanka. How to reach the shrine. Sigiriya Airport in Sigiriya, Sri Lanka is the nearby airport to the shrine. Maddalay Railway Station in Maddalay, Sri Lanka is the nearby train station to the shrine. If you wish to know more about Catholic shrine basilicas, Marian shrines and Marian apparitions, subscribe to our Catholic Shrine Basilica YouTube channel. Like and share with your loved ones. For more churches website www.catholicshrinebasilica.com.